you. He may honor me by making me his archpriestess, and by delivering into my hands the one who currently holds that position, the lovely 𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐴. Oh, the things I'll do to her body. 𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐵 wills herself to rid her eyes of the wistful glint. Take a good look at what awaits you. These poor things thought themselves great fighters, but now they're just dolls in my hands, marvelous trophies. Some are still alive. Once I'm done with your transformation, you could even exchange stories of your downfall. Come here. I'll be gentle, wouldn't want to ruin your beautiful pelt.
Where are you holding the hand of the inheritor?
In a place from which there is no escape. In the heart of the prison, there is a cell for special guests. Not for you, critter, I'm sorry. You'll be confined in these chambers. But don't worry, I can entertain you just as well as our Lord's finest executioners.
Hand over the Dawnflower's kiss.
𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐵 draws the sword. Let's begin our game. I hereby dedicate the first wound I inflict on you to the Lord of Beasts. And all others, to my own pleasure and nothing else.
Alright, let's go.
Surrender or
That's a lot of misses. That's a lot of misses. Okay, she's not casting any spells. So let's throw down, yeah, some Scorching Ray. Or no. That wasn't Scorching Ray, that was Hellfire. Are you dead? I don't think... Oh, yeah, she's dead. It's dead. Okay. One could have mistaken this wretched mortal for a stuffed effigy if not for the eyes, alive and full of pain. Okay, that says the same. Just loot the damn box. Letter from the Wardens Chambers.
A page covered in demonic symbols. Master, I humbly ask that you double the number of guards under my command. There are now so many captive 𝐂𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐵 and 𝐂𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐴 soldiers that we are being forced to put down the unsupervised surplus. I suggest we remove the guard from the secret passageway where the 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐵 ghost hides and reduce the number of sentries at the groaning gate. Either way, no enemy is capable of bursting through them. I would also ask to abolish the need to keep watch over Alderpash's cells. Any guard assigned to his chambers gets immediately corrupted by his bribes and promises, becomes his spy, and then has to be executed at once as a warning to the rest. Beyond that, I would like to report the preposterous behavior of the priestess 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿. She keeps taking my warriors to perform her sacrifices and demanding that my sorcerers restore the magical barrier around some empty cage every cycle. It's about time someone put that deranged bitch in her place. Bowing before your deathly glory, your unworthy slave. 𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐵.
All right. Didn't realize I could kill him. Hey, that works out for me though.
I'm glad I was useful to you.
Lots of loots. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, we got this over here. Let's come kill this guy. Alright, let's see what this is. It seems the prison warden enjoyed the suffering of her inmates so much she even provided herself with a panoramic view of the prison cells from her office. Well, that's one way to do it, I suppose. Oh, got one thing over here on the bookcase. Legends of the Dark Knights. That seems kind of long. Oh, this mentions the Ashen Lady. We'll go ahead and listen to it.
The once beautifully bound book is now in a pitiful state, the spine is torn, the cover is burnt, and the pages have been either soiled or ripped out. One of the legends described on the remaining pages is covered in scribbles and crossings out. It is said that in times past, there lived a blind mortal woman. Robbed of daylight from birth, without ever having seen the true world around her, she lost her mind at a young age and felt a strange passion for things others avoided like the plague. Above all other pleasures and joys of this world, she cherished death. 4. The rest of the line is scratched out, and the handwritten words below read, "The silly woman had never met a succubus." Even though the fate was cruel to her, the woman, dubbed the Ashen Lady, was a kind and generous soul, especially toward those who were to her liking. To them, she would give the most precious gift she could imagine, death. The most artful and beautiful of the ends she granted was the Ashen Death. The page is torn, but you can still make out the writing under the bedraggled edge, "Amateur." Many a mortal was sent to a better place by the Ashen Lady, for she was incredibly skilled and deft at her craft. Seemingly weak and helpless, she could bring out the pity and compassion in those dear to her, and these emotions were followed by a swift death. No one could believe that a blind woman was capable of the kind of treachery and stealth that the Ashen Lady employed. Only those who were destined to die by her hand knew the secret. She would mark her victims with a curse and then follow its scent like a tireless hound. You notice a scrawling on the side of the page that reads, "Drivel." The Ashen Lady would have brought much more misery to her friends and loved ones, had she not received retribution for her sins. Upon hearing word that some crafty murderer had surpassed their own misdeeds with her grim accomplishments, Baphomet's cultists disposed of their rival. They captured her and dragged her down into the abyss. A scribble on the side reads, "Serves her right? Let the wretch waste away in our cells."
All right. Well, now we have a little bit of backstory there. Nothing else in here? No. Okay. But we did get the the scimitar back. So let's head back over to the wife, to 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐿's wife. Is this the sword you were talking about? Vile monsters, the once blessed blade, what have they turned it into? Will you let me be the spark that will drive away the evil that has tainted it? Sure. May the Dawnflower's grace cleanse the soul of the one I loved in life. Damn. All right, we'll just go with this one. Just because I think that give the sword to my beloved 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐬, tell him. All right, and she's gone. So let's take a look at the sword. I knew it'd be a scimitar because that's his thing. It's +5 scimitar, deals an additional 2d6 holy damage on hit. Whenever the wielder confirms a critical hit, it grants them a +4 bonus on initiative rolls, as well as a +1 extra attack with a maximum attack bonus for 1 round. Wow, that's pretty stout. That's pretty awesome. So, I imagine here before long we will have our undead party, because I may just level him up as a warrior and just be a two-handed blades of fury. Okay, so we were over here. Let's make sure we didn't miss anything over here. Wow, dodged that rock, didn't we?
What's in wait for me there, I wonder?
Save it. And we're on our horse. Charge.
Retreat is not an option.
All right. All right. Destroy the obelisk. Nice. All right. Awaken the magic circle. Save this just in case this is... Oh, this may be where we're supposed to be, but there's so much more that I want to explore first. So we may not want to do this yet, but I'm going to do it just to see what it does. What the fuck?
The immense statue is watching you impassively. Its horned head suddenly leans forward and gives you a sly wink. It's still not too late to kneel before me. If you admit here and now that you have no master other than me, I'll grant you permission to take your own life, swiftly and painlessly.
What riddle are you going to ask me this time? No more riddles, only ruin. It's time you return to dust, foolish mortal creature. Yeah, this is not what we wanted to do just yet. I love the sound it made when it hit the ground. That was awesome. All right, that's it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is the cell. We don't want to go any further yet. Right? There's still stuff that we want to check out.
This way.
Okay, not that way. Oh, wait. What is this that we found? It did nothing. Okay. Bloody writing on this body reads, Commander, my death is on your conscience. No, it's not. Okay, so we've already been here. Yeah. Okay, so back out this way. We already clicked on that one.
Wherever my legs carry me.
Okay, back out here. And then we hang the left. And get crushed by the rock. Damn it. I almost got away with it. That's cute.
The world's not ending just yet.
Okay.
Trail me.
Oh shit.
What's in wait for me there, I wonder?
Save it. All right. All right. The bed's covered with old moldy sheets that haven't been changed in a long time.
I finished here. Is there more?
Bookshelf is full of rare arcane tomes so ancient that even the dust that rests on them is priceless. That's funny. Baphomet the Imprisoned. We need to at least do that so we get the... Right? Down here. No, okay, so we got it. What did we get from that? God, we have read quite a few books. There it is. Baphomet the Imprisoned. +1 competence bonus to CMD and CMP. Nice. All right. It's a lot of shit there. Okay, next.
This way.
This undead was dissected with great skill and care. The pages of the book are hopelessly ruined. It's no longer possible to read it. However, the soothing aura around it persists despite Baphomet's minions' best efforts. Nice. Alright, do we get to talk to you now? An unfinished golem with small gems installed in its eyes. Okay. Loot. Alderpash. The room you're in looks more like a palace than a prison. Every part of it's impeccably clean, despite the fact that the cell's inhabitant has been dead for millennia.
The words coming out of the dead man's mouth catch you off guard. Why, hello there, my dear. I've been waiting and waiting, wondering what my guest was up to and why he hadn't shown up yet. Don't be shy, have a seat, eat to your heart's content. When you're someone important, you don't talk business standing up now, do you? And we do indeed have business to discuss.
Do we?
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Alderpash, Rune Lord of Wrath, a destroyer and a conqueror, the great tyrant of 𝐿𝐴𝐴. Doesn't ring any bells? I understand, many millennia have passed, and all of them I've spent in this prison as Baphomet's captive. It's been a while since I've strolled around Golarion, my heart was still beating back then. It wasn't until later that I became a Lich, wasn't fond of the idea of dying a prisoner here, you see. Well, that's all beside the point. The guards tipped me off that you had barged into this prison, and I thought fate might bring you to my doorstep. I've been expecting you since. Rune Lord of Wrath? A Rune Lord? Camelia's eyes widen. It's unclear whether this is a sign of fear or exhilaration. I can scarcely believe it. They were akin to gods. This mummy is the second most powerful and dangerous creature in this labyrinth, after Baphomet himself.
Alright. We don't care what Nenio thinks.
The rest of Nenio's monologue is drowned out by Alderpash's creaking laughter.
Good.
Trust me, young lady, I'm in no danger of going senile. But I like you. You remind me of an acquaintance of mine, it's been such a long time. She was good, both at work and... But this is no time for reminiscence. And even less so for experiments.
Oh, chicka bow wow.
Rumors about you have been going around the abyss for a while now. Rumors fly free, you see, can't snare them, can't cage them. Even down here, in the deepest dungeons, a tale flies by every now and again, about the time you took Drazen from the demons, or about the time a goddess and a demon came to coax you to their side. I've long since wanted to see you for myself and take your measure. You feel the dead eyes fix their gaze on you. Ah, you're a rare bird, straight from paradise, I see. Mortal flesh, touched by the spirit of the higher realms, 𝐚𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐿. A wonder, plain and simple, I've only seen one or two of your kind in my long life. Who else if not you should be the one to crush the abyssal armies?
I want to know more about you.
By all means, I see no reason not to tell you. I've got some impressive stories to share. I was a great tyrant in life, the good folk were scared witless of me. And in death, as you can see, my power is nothing to sniff at. I continue my explorations on magic, the kind that your generation knows nothing about. Go ahead, my dear, ask away. He gives you a benevolent smile. Indeed. Alas, I haven't had the pleasure of wounding him by my own hand, although I'd dearly love to spill his guts. Yes, I've heard about your feat. Ever since he rushed back to his abyssal realm and locked himself up in his citadel, everyone's been going on and on about you, my dear. What kind of mortal is this that managed to injure our mighty lord? Alderpash lowers his voice in a confiding manner. He won't soon forget you. He may be ancient, but he's such a child at heart, he's been the same ever since he was created. All he cares about are his grudges. 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴's wounded him, 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴𝐿 left him, 𝐷𝐴𝐴𝐿 doesn't see him as his equal, 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐿 refused to bed him. He's a walking collection of scars, his wounds are his essence. So you take heed now. Poor thing. He must be so sad and lonely. People think that demons are made of hatred and malice, but really, they're made of pain and sorrow. If only we could help them. But we can't. 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴𝐿's voice is filled with grief. You're right, a demon's life is never-ending torment. And each one takes revenge for their suffering on everyone around them. And they'll just keep on doing it, because those like me are few and far between. Most of them will never change their ways. They don't teach you youngsters anything these days. Then listen well, 10,000 years ago, there was the great empire of Thassalon, and no nation of today could hold a candle to its glory. It was led by Emperor 𝐂𝐻𝐿 in accordance with the 7 virtues of rule. His reign was long but ended in tragedy. 𝐂𝐻𝐿 was deposed by 7 stewards who then split Thassalon between them. They twisted the virtues of rule for the sake of their ever-growing power and created the magic of the 7 vices. By the way, those spells of yours, all those silly schools, they were all based on our concepts, except you lot have lost track of their substance, the power itself, over the centuries. These 7 great mages of your called themselves the Rune Lords, the first of whom was me, Alderpash, Lord of Bakrokan, Rune Lord of Wrath. I'm not going to list all my deeds, that would be boastful, but let's just say I've spilled enough blood to fill all the rivers on Golarion, and the tears my actions brought could fill the same thrice over. Yes. My reign was grand and glorious, and they would tremble at the mention of my name for many centuries to come.
You don't look like a villain to me.
Alderpash snickers gleefully. Why, that's because I'm not one. They just call me that, and for what? Was putting 7,000 slaves on stakes for their rebellion an act of villainy? I had the well-being of others in mind. I gave them a warning so they wouldn't die a horrible death. As for plundering neighboring kingdoms and beheading my servants, there's no evil in that at all. That's just the daily life of any ruler.
Okay.
I am prone to fits of temper, yes, but only when there's a good reason. If someone failed me, I'd smite them without mercy, it's true. But such lack of restraint is a part of my power and my talent. That's just how we Rune Lords of Wrath are. I remember, about 1,000 or so years after I was first thrown in here, a woman by the name of 𝐂𝐻𝐿 came to visit. She was a fierce one, too, ripped my skull off and took it with her as a trophy, haha. Then she went to Bakrokan, found the one who was the Rune Lord of Wrath at the time, the third one after me, executed his wife and 7 children, and made the ruler himself into an undead. She kept whispering to my skull, asking for advice. She really took a shine to me. She was something, that one, the last Rune Lord of Wrath in history, mind you. So I'm not angry with her about the skull, why would I be? I was reborn from my phylactery anyway, good as new.
Astounding savagery. That's not how I imagined the great kingdoms of old. I want to learn more about your magic research.
Oh, my dear, I've been keeping busy with all sorts of things over the centuries. I bet you youngsters haven't even heard a whisper about our magic of sin. When Baphomet locked me in here, he wrapped me up in his spells good and tight. The enchantment was so powerful, it bound my soul to this very cell. The things I've attempted to circumvent his handiwork, conjuring golems to spread my power beyond the walls of this prison, moving my consciousness into other bodies, so many minds obliterated in that particular effort, and all for naught. When I grew desperate, I whipped up some fanciful undead, just to vex Baphomet and lay waste to his jail. Must have slaughtered half the labyrinth, then stopped, it was too much of a hassle. I'm just bragging at this point, for you to understand my discoveries, you'd have to study as my apprentice for an age or two. You know what kind of education mages used to get? Far beyond anything they teach these days. Needless to say, I've hidden my most valuable creations and treasures far from this place so that Baphomet can't get his hands on any of them. The guards assigned to me were so kind as to accept a modest bribe and carry them out of the prison to stow somewhere safe.
His phylactery, however, was not one of them. Your knowledge tells you that Alderpash could not have removed his greatest treasure from the prison, as it contains his very soul. Baphomet's magic would make no distinction between the phylactery and the Lich's physical body. As you can see, I've walked the path of becoming a Lich myself. Ah, yes, most impressive. To reach such heights at such a young age, I congratulate you, my dear, as my equal. Where do you keep your phylactery? What a curious question. I'm going to let the voice read the rest of this.
Alderpash smirked slyly. What a curious question. And what, pray tell, do you need this knowledge for, my dear? Methinks you shouldn't be troubling that clever young head of yours with secrets like that. Let's say you find out where it is, then what? Let's say you destroy it, but why would you? We're not enemies, we're allies. Besides, you couldn't find it if you tried. I'm no buffoon, my phylactery is hidden in a safe place far from here.
His soft, harmless chuckle could have fooled many, but you notice his hand twitching as soon as you mention the phylactery. All right, everything's clear. Tell me about the prison.
Well, what are you interested in, my dear? I know a fair bit, my guards, you see, some of them like coin, and some are just afraid of me. So they tell me everything, I listen to their confessions each and every day. That's why I know all about the secret paths through this here maze, and a thing or two about the inmates.
How do I find my way through the labyrinth?
Well, what do you think demonic pathways are for? Haven't you seen the arcane symbols inscribed all over the place? Those fiendish scribbles are the portals you need, they tie all the cells together, and the demons hop right through them. If there's a place you need that's of any importance whatsoever, it'll have a magic symbol like that.
Who in this prison can help me fight Baphomet?
Alderpash laughs, baring his strong, large yellowish teeth. Oh, my dear, this dungeon is full of those who wish Baphomet ill. There's a catch, though, most of them are dead as mutton. Not like me, I mean, properly dead, their bones are dust, nothing but a ghost left. They're not going anywhere, that's the magic of the ineluctable prison for you. They sit here, all locked up, and cry, oh, how they cry. And when the angel was brought in to be tortured, they all found themselves a cranny to hide in. Take a peek between the stones, you might find someone who can tell you something useful.
I'm not really gonna hit the history here. How'd you end up here? There we go.
I was betrayed, my dear. 𝐂𝐴𝐴, Rune Lord of Lust, was nothing compared to me, yet she wanted to take my place as the leader and found a source of truly legendary powers. Naturally, I was furious, and thought I'd do away with the upstart. To even the odds, I made a deal with Baphomet. I borrowed a part of his might and promised to give him 𝐂𝐴𝐴 when I was done playing with her. Oh, she was a wild one. But the Lord of Beasts came to me and demanded payment when I was just putting my cunning plans into motion. It goes without saying that Baphomet was more interested in taking me instead of some 𝐂𝐴𝐴, so, under the pretext of me breaking the terms of our pact, he seized me. A show of treachery on his part, yes, but what else could you expect from a demon? Rune Lord of Lust, you say? I'm sure I've known at least 3 ladies of certain morals who used that particular moniker.
Huh.
Did you lot have, by any chance, a Rune Lord of voracity? Or of bibulousness? Of raucous rebels that keep the whole street awake until the wee hours of the morning? Alderpash lets out a chuckle of contempt. The small minds of your generation cannot grasp the higher, mystical meaning of sin. Unsurprising, then, that our teachings have degenerated into your primitive system of magic schools. You're asking if we had the magic of voracity, or gluttony, to be precise? Of course we had. You call it necromancy. The insatiable hunger, the lust for life force, both your own and another's, the manipulation of corporeal energies. Come to think of it, my words are wasted on you, lover of revels.
Damn. Not all prisoners are allowed this kind of luxury.
Don't be fooled, this is all just Baphomet's idea of a joke. That weasel wants to remind me every day how much I lost when he captured me. He went to the trouble of making my cell look exactly like my chambers in 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐿. My dear, sometimes I take one look at it, and I just... He stops mid-sentence, clenching his fists until they crack, and you notice signs of repeated, rigorous restoration all around. Looks like Alderpash has had a number of fits of temper over the centuries of imprisonment.
I bet.
You notice that, contrary to what Alderpash has just said, not all of the interior of the cell belongs to the era of the Rune Lords' rule in 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐿, far from it. Many items in here came into use at a much later period in history, mostly those that are implements for the arcane arts. You can clearly tell that Alderpash's phylactery is somewhere within his chambers, despite his attempts to hide this fact. His concern is understandable, after all, if you destroy it, he will lose his immortality. The phylactery could be absolutely anything, any of the furnishings or the trinkets around here.
Alright. What sort of business do you have with me?
Here's the thing, I've grown weary of sitting here, and I can't escape. I've tried so many things, every trick in the book, nothing. Baphomet placed enchantments on me that hold me in the cell and utterly refused to let me walk out the door. And anti-magic spells have never been my forte, I've always believed incineration to be the best defense against enemy sorcery. And here I am, languishing in here. Would you, my dear, kindly help me escape? I'd make it worth your while. What do you say?
What kind of payment?
I have something that could prove useful to you. Back when I still lived, I was interested in a certain plane called 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐿. A remarkable place, a chimera of sorts, the graveyard for dead planets. Getting there is tricky, but I managed to capture one of the guardians of that plane. I wore them down in a torture chamber,